Hi, my name is Derek Stack. I'm the lead project engineer here at Enertiv. Recently, we released a white paper entitled Blueprint for Success: The 5 Steps to Digitizing Building Operations and Improving Returns at Scale. This video is the first of a 5-part video series covering that white paper. And today, I'm going to specifically talk to you about data collection and digitizing your asset. Our goal in this video series is to use a data-driven approach to building operations for the purpose of reducing OpEx and reducing CapEx and improving your bottom line. So if you're an owner or an operator of a commercial real estate asset, stay tuned because this applies directly to you. In commercial real estate, data is already used pretty much everywhere. Data is omnipresent. It's used in financing, it's used in operations, it's used in management, it's used in research. However, in a specific building operations, the data just doesn't exist. Either it's not there or the data is insufficient. So in building operations, you can't use that data to drive your decisions. You can't take a data-driven approach. So today I'm going to talk to you about how you can get started doing that. So where do you look for your data? Sometimes you might have a BMS platform installed in your asset. Other times you might not. So if you have a BMS system, that's a good place to look at first. But the problem with BMS systems is they're ad hoc. There's many manufacturers. You may have a portfolio with 10 different buildings, and you may have 10 different BMS platforms. They don't talk to each other. They don't tell you the same thing. They often leave out critical components in your building. One building, you might have a BMS that records your boiler. In another building, you might have a BMS system that doesn't record your boiler, but it records your cooling tower. So it's an incomplete data set. It's ad hoc. There's different manufacturers, different labels, different tags. They don't talk to each other. So you can't really rely on your BMS to give you a big picture scope of what your building's doing in terms of building operations. Another problem with BMS systems is they're typically only installed in premier Class A office buildings. They're not really found in Class B and C buildings, such as a warehouse. And they're also not commonly found in say, a multifamily residential building, although sometimes they are. Anyways, a BMS is not really the best way to rely on all your data. So, or the best way to gather all your data. So, where do you get all that? Well, the first step is to really look at a qualitative approach into actually painting the picture or laying the foundation of what your building is, what your asset is, and where you can actually get some very important information. So you want to look at your qualitative stuff, such as your spec sheets, your panel schedules, your warranties. All that stuff exists, but where is it? It might be in a drawer somewhere in the basement in the engineer's office. It might be stuffed in an electrical room up on the roof. So what you want to do is you want to gather all that information. That could also include your location, age, and performance, and health of all your critical equipment, all your critical components in your building. And you want to digitize that. You want to organize it, bring it up to the front so you know about it. You want to have quick access to your warranties in case your pump breaks and you need to call the manufacturer right away, rather than waste time looking for that warranty. So that's your first step. You want to take all your qualitative data and organize it and have it up front to paint the framework or the foundation of what your asset actually is. Your second step is you want to install sensors into your building. And what kind of sensors are we talking about? We're talking about temperature sensors, current and potential transformers to measure real power from anything from a motor to a fan to a boiler. Other sensors could include submeters, utility meters, for either automatic tenant billing or just submetering, or just to know how a certain component of your building is operating. Once you have all that data that you're gathering and you have a complete set of data, you want to integrate that in your third step. You want to integrate that data set with your existing system. So if you have a BMS platform, you want that data set that you just installed all these sensors to talk to your BMS system that you already have. So you need to integrate the system and have the two systems talk to each other. Once you do that, you've painted a big picture you know exactly what your building is doing, and you know exactly what your critical load is on your building. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for the rest of the video series. Later on in the series, we're going to talk about some pretty interesting stuff, such as benchmarking your assets and benchmarking your entire portfolio so you can actually evaluate it and potentially sell it. Thanks again.